Hey folks, LA Little here today, and what we have on the ground is U.S. removing Maduro from Venezuela's political structure, and that's going to have implications to U.S. stocks, and it's going to be immediate. And so you need to get ahead of this, move fast if you're going to move, and go after those stocks that stand to benefit the most. And what I'm going to do is point those out to you and look at their technical structure as a result. So let's dive into the charts. I have my energy watch list up here, and what I've done is I've popped in my analysis of where these things could move in terms of percentages. Really what you're going to benefit is you're going to benefit the majors like ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, Chevron. Those are going to benefit. But I think the biggest pops are going to be elsewhere in your materials, equipment, things like that. So let's start with the majors. Here's ConocoPhillips. The first thing to notice in all of these is, what is the trend? And this one's been down. You can see it on your trend lines here. You can see this has been pressing to the downside. It's bearish on the long-term time frame. You're starting to turn though. You can see the structure starting to turn here. You got these double swing point lows. So now you're going to go after these swing point high as a result, and probably these up here. You got probably a 10-15% pop at most. If you add that on, say you got another $10, you're going to move up to this swing point high. So that's probably the target. If we go to the next one and look at it, and we'll look at Chevron next. Again, Chevron probably looks like about a 10-15% pop coming on it. Also has that same structure where it's been heading lower. You've got the lower highs, lower lows. It is also starting to turn. It hasn't quite done as well as Conoco, but you can see the retest regen here that it's trading in now, and it's about to get over it. Target up here. All of these are going to target this breakdown bar back from the week of March. You can see the other thing I didn't point out on the other Conoco was that you had a nice big pop on Friday. Maybe there were some people that knew something that was fixed to come down as a result of that. In this particular one, that top up around 169 it is. You can see there's actually a structure in place already to take it to 162, which is this top here. And so I would expect that's going to happen immediately. We'll go to ExxonMobil next. Now, ExxonMobil is the strongest of the group. You can see it's bullish across all its time frames, and it has pressed bullish breakout last month. This one also looks to have probably about maybe, not as much upside, maybe about 8 to 10, maybe 12% upside. So this is probably the more sure bet than the others. But not as much topside as a result of that. And you can see here, if we pull this up a little bit, you can see all these structures in play already on the bullish side to take it as high on a long-term basis, right? We're talking about short-term when I'm talking about these pops. On a long-term basis, a lot higher. Intermediate, 130, which is a decent pop, right? That's about 15%. If we go to the short-term, 124. And so that's another 4% or so, and that probably will happen immediately. Both of these. So that's Exxon. That's the large majors. Let's go to the equipment. We'll take Baker Hughes first, and Baker Hughes bearish on the short term, but bullish on the others. So this to me is like that momentary weakness kind of thing I've talked about in other videos. Where it's been pressed down and it's about to make its run. They also got a decent bump, not much volume, but a decent bump on Friday. On the long term, usually somebody knows something, right? On the long term here, certainly heading higher. It had already broken out. It's doing a bullish retest regen. This is going to pop right back up to the highs. Same thing here. I would expect you're going to see this at the highs come Monday. And so that's Baker Hughes. How much can Baker Hughes move? I would think that probably maybe 10%, 13%. I've got it as roughly 9 to 13. Let's go to Halliburton, 12 to 18% pop. Now this is one that's been beaten down the most, bearish on a long-term time frame, but I would expect that it's going to go right after that swing point high and take it out almost immediately. So it's going to change that trend in the long term. If you look at it here, it's had a very constructive run back up. You got nice volume spikes on the way up on these big bars. And so Halliburton, to me, is set up very nicely. Did a retest regen here, held, touched one more time, and now it's pushing up. And if we go look at it over here, it's breaking out. So Halliburton set up very nicely. This is one I traded recently, made some gains, took it out, and did not put it back on yet. But this is one I'll be looking at come Monday morning. Taking the next one in the group, we got Marathon Petroleum. Now this is downstream where we get the processing side. These have been beat up pretty bad, bearish, and it's even though it's still holding the bullish here, it's coming way back deep. But I think your gains, your potential gains here, when they start processing all this heavy crude, you could probably get 6 to 10% pretty easy. I would think that is this my first choice? No. Is it a rather reliable choice? Probably. If you want to sit it out smaller, they won't get as much of a pop immediately. Downstream, they're gonna benefit from the processing of the crude for the most part. Next up, let's look at Schlumberger. Schlumberger popping here. If we look at it on the weekly, popping, going after that high that we've talked about before. This one, Schlumberger probably is good for 10 to 15% gains, and so you're looking at a price point up in the 50s. This to me is set up very nicely. Bullish sideways. This is going to turn bullish on this. Get back over those April highs, which is here, which should happen fairly quickly. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this week. So I think Schlumberger is another one that's set up extremely well. So the last one is Valero. Let's look at Valero. Here's the long-term chart. This one's set up the same way with that bearish short-term time frame being down, but you've got bullish elsewhere. You've got, if I go look at it long-term here, you've got a nice setup here on the highs where it's already tested the tops. You're going to come back and try to take them out. If you look at it on the intermediate term time frame, same sort of situation. So you'll get a breakout on multiple time frames when it happens. That price point is 185. Can it get there immediately? It's going to be a little hard. You're at 164. I don't think it has that much pop in it. Maybe you're going to get a 10% pop. So you'll get right up to that area, but the breakout will come later. But you'll get a good pop here on the short-term time frame. You got to get this retest regen. I suspect this will be taken out immediately, and then you'll be able to get a re-entry on some sort of a little pullback. Now, the main thing that we should talk about with all of these, no matter which one you're looking at, is they're going to mark them up immediately overnight. And so first thing Monday morning, they're going to be jacked up. You don't want to buy the open. In most cases, you're just not going to want to buy the open. You're going to wait for some intraday volatility and buy that volatility on dips back to support areas that you see develop on Monday morning. So I expect all of these are going to pop. What you're going to have to do is look for entries on volatility during the day on Monday to establish your positions without buying that opening pop, which is probably going to get sold almost immediately because they're going to open them much higher than they should right off the bat. That's where we stand. That's a look at the refiners, the equipment suppliers, as well as the majors. I think you're going to get a pop on all of these. Energy is going to be hot this week, and it's going to be a fertile place to play if you care to. That's where we're at. Like this video if you enjoy this kind of material, and certainly subscribe to the site. and hit that alert button so that you get notified as soon as I put out these videos. Have a great one.